Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to B-Ball Breakdown. Are you into fantasy? Because the whole season can be way too long to do a fantasy league, which is why DraftStreet has a really cool one-day fantasy league every week. It's free to join and you can win some money, so check it out. Our friend Alfredo Rodriguez loves to take stats on games about defense and whether or not people are contesting shots and getting deflections, and this is what every NBA team does. So it's no surprise when you're watching the Pacers versus the Warriors that you'd see Paul George and Roy Hibbert grade very highly in his stats. So I want to show you what he came up with, and we're going to spotlight some subtle but terrific defensive plays by both these guys. It's very rare to have a center and a wing so good on defense, and that's why they are so good. They don't even have to do it the whole game. We're going to show you 10 or 11 plays, and they do those so well, the other team doesn't score on those. They can win by 8 or 9 points just by doing that. So it's a pleasure to watch Roy Hibbert and Paul George play. No doubt in my mind that Roy Hibbert has the inside track on the Defensive Player of the Year award, and we'll show you why. Looking at the total number of preventions, including contesting of shots, deflections, steals, blocks, and a host of other plays, it's pretty clear that two players stand out amongst all the other contributors, and this is the case night in and night out. Paul George starts by making contact with Klay Thompson, forcing Klay to exert extra energy to push off. George decides to go on the high side of the screen, knowing he wants to force Klay back to the baseline. Also notice how he doesn't use a defensive slide, instead turning and running to beat into the spot. This extra effort forces Klay to slide his pivot foot and turn it over. The Warriors think they have a mismatch with Hibbert guarding David Lee. Look how low Hibbert gets in his stance, making him quicker and also deceiving David Lee as to how tall he really is. His initial stance is to force no middle, and while he should move straight up to cut him off, he's so long he can handle a smaller guy getting into the lane. He offers great resistance, stays balanced, and easily blocks the shot without jumping and keeping his arms straight up. Hibbert also had to guard a smaller, quicker man in Spates, but watch how low he stays in his stance, again taking away the middle with his right foot, and then challenges this step back. On the pick and roll, Hibbert is extremely effective in subtle ways. They let him sink down to contain the ball handler, but watch how he steps up to Spates, closing out and forcing Spates to take off a lot farther from the hoop than he intended. This causes an awkward shot, and Hibbert doesn't quit, getting the rebound as well. Paul George isn't just an on-ball defender. He's intelligent and has license to freelance when he sees the opportunity. As his man cuts along the baseline, he knows Hibbert is going to step up to protect the rim and slides in to knock away the pass to Hibbert's man. This kind of play usually ends up back in the Pacers' hands. Now watch how they both hustle back in transition to stop the ball after a turnover. Not only is Paul George hustling back on Iguodala, but Roy Hibbert is sprinting back to protect the rim, enabling this deflection which starts a break for the Pacers. Normally I'd say this is a mistake when Paul George helps one pass away, but you can tell this was going to be a jab step to the ball only until Klay decides to shoot it, so he stays with him and pressures the miss. Hibbert has really mastered containing the ball handler, then moving laterally to handle the roll man, and he uses verticality well, getting another block shot. Paul George is not only gifted with incredibly long arms, watch his footwork on this closeout. He needs only 2 steps to be fully extended to contest this 3-point shot in the corner. Just watch how simple, correct positioning helps Roy Hibbert so much he can influence Curry to pass off rather than challenge him, and has the reaction time to find the cutter and erase the shot at the basket. At a key moment in the fourth, again the Warriors try to isolate out high with Hibbert, and he simply rides David Lee out of the middle and gets a finger on this shot. And what other 7-foot center in the league is as good and as willing to hedge high and contest 3-point shots like this?